Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Little Nightmares 2 theory video. I know. It's been some time since we had a good, old-fashioned theory video. And today, hopefully, this will satisfy your theory need. In today's theory video, we're going to be talking about the Doctor and Dr. No, to see if they're somehow correlated or something completely different. We're going to be talking a lot about Little Nightmares 2 and the demo, so if you don't want to be spoiled, you might want to look away. This video will also include evidence in characters from Little Nightmares 1, so be warned, there are going to be spoilers ahead. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the video. So let's begin by talking about the Doctor. Let's start with his appearance. The Doctor has a very strange appearance. He looks like he has a large, grub-like body and has a type of dark clothing around it. He looks rather old, and if we take a closer look at him and his face, this becomes more apparent, as he seems to be balding and only has hair around his head, which looks as if it's greying as well, not to mention the wrinkles on his forehead. He also looks to have tired eyes and exposes his teeth. Something I was wondering about was perhaps he looks this way with his skin because he spends a lot of his times up on the ceilings, and of course because obviously gravity is a thing, his skin's going to weigh down on him, and I wonder if this has caused some type of strain on his skin and left him looking like this. It could explain why his eyelids and lips fall, and it could give us an indication of how much time he's been doing what he's doing. Let's take a look at what he does in the Pale City, and how it affects the world of Little Nightmares. So with that being said, I'd like to draw your attention to an article by eDukes on the PlayStation.blog. The blog itself is titled "Survive Through the Horrors of the Latest Level Revealed for Tarsier Studios Platforming Sequel." In this, eDukes talks more about Little Nightmares 2 Hospital demo and has some very interesting information. It begins with Mono and Six stumble into this run-down building as they seek shelter from a miserable rain pelting the Pale City. But once inside, they quickly discover the cure is much worse than the disease. So this is an interesting choice of words, especially the stumble part. From this, I'm getting the impression that Six and Mono obviously never intended to go into the hospital. Then we come to the most interesting part of this information in regards to the Doctor. The hospital is the home of the Doctor and his patients, each one a collection of clattering parts that lurch after anything unusual in their environment. Save your sympathy, these hypochondriacs willingly came to the hospital in search of a medical solution for their boredom infecting their lives. So the Doctor did what he could, taking away some bits and adding others as his artistic sensibilities saw fit. And once the process had begun, it's not as if the patients could voice a complaint. And then after that, we have another paragraph that goes as followed. It might seem like a benign system, but the search for self-improvement through medical intervention requires fresh treatments to keep the patients satisfied that they are getting cutting-edge care. That's the fate in store for our little visitors if they get caught wandering the wards. So, some very interesting information, and this does give us clues as to what the Doctor is up to in the hospital. So, from the sound of it, it's safe to assume that the Doctor has been working on willing patients. I don't know how that will hold up in court though, where he removed parts of the bodies and replaced them with prosthetics. And as we read, these could be any type of prosthetics. Interestingly, we don't know if they are currently alive or conscious, as the Doctor has removed their ability to talk. So that's the first Doctor. Now let's move on to another Doctor in the Little Nightmares universe, Dr. No. I imagine there are many doctors in the universe of Little Nightmares, but these are the only two shown to us. But with that, Dr. No is a little harder to spot. The only time we see Dr. No is on the moor, as there is a painting of him, but not of his face, only the bottom half of his face. And this painting is covered up on purpose. We also see paintings being covered up on purpose in the Little Nightmares 2 trailer. Interestingly, when we go into the data of the game and go searching in the files and look for this specific painting, we can see that there is a question mark on his head and on the texture. And this is also where we get the name from, as in the files he's literally listed as Dr. No. In the painting we see that Dr. No has a white lab coat and a red tie. Notice that his build seems rather normal, but there is one area that looks odd, to say the least: his hands. I have spoken about Dr. No before, in the video titled The Dr. No Theory, where I talk about him and who or what he could be. In short, I theorise that he has some type of similar goal to Crank. Crank is an old man who lost the ability to dream and so tries to steal the dreams of other children. This movie, The City of the Lost Children, is where Little Nightmares found some of its inspiration. And I do wonder, does Dr. No have some sort of inspiration from Crank? So, with all that being said, surely we know something about Dr. No, right? Well, no. Apart from his hidden artwork in the moor, we know nothing else. There isn't any mention of him in the comics, Very Little Nightmares, anywhere. There's no mention of him on the Twitter pages or even Bandai's website. Dr. No is a ghost in the machine at the moment. We don't know anything about him. But is that the point? Is Dr. No going to be the ace card in the Little Nightmares universe? So, this brings me to my main point in this video, and that would be, are these doctors the same doctor? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I theorise that they are in fact not the same doctor at all. As much as I would love to finally get some type of answer or information for Dr. No, I don't think they're cut from the same cloth. I do think that they might even be competing against each other. It's safe to say that we have a pretty big piece of evidence to back this up, and it's, of course, the painting from the moor. Now, on the moor, we have a painting of Dr. No and the Doctor. Different paintings, different doctors. Not to mention that the painting of the Doctor is absolutely on point with what we saw in the demo. The eyes, the lips, the neck, it's all big indications of that being the Doctor. Interestingly as well, from that painting, he doesn't seem to have any hair from what we can see. And from what we mentioned earlier, we know that these paintings have to be somewhat in time with what's going on and relevant. What I mean by this is that if it was the Doctor before he was a grub on the ceiling, he wouldn't have so much saggy skin in the painting. And because it's painted, the saggy skin must be current or recent of the Doctor. So it's safe to say this generally couldn't be the same person. But this does open up an interesting possibility. Now, this is far-fetched and probably would have a video of its own at some point, but what if they are the same person? What if, at some point, Dr. No turned into the Doctor we see in Little Nightmares 2? It's an interesting thought, and it also sort of suggests that not everyone is immune to this kind of whatever's going on in Little Nightmares. Perhaps he changed somehow, something changed him. But, like I said, could well be a video in itself. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, Dr. No and the Doctor are not the same doctors. one seems to be still a mystery in the world of Little Nightmares, and one is still a grubby nightmare on the ceiling. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'd like to take a minute just to thank the members of the channel, and they are the following: Kris, Mr. Dragon, Greenapple Gaming, NierNione, DeHaro, NierNione, Elena, and DF. Thank you everyone for the support, it really goes a long way. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this theory video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. But with that being said, I wish you the best morning, day or night wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next theory video.